Welcome back to CIA Declassified. We've moved from the whispers of European saloons into the early silicon vines of the 21st century. Imagine it's early 2003. The world is reeling from a new era of global terror, and the Pentagon is desperate to find a way to predict the unpredictable. They don't just want to file on suspects, they want to file on everyone. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, launched a project to map the human experience in its entirety. They don't just want to know where you are, they want to know what you think, who you love, and what you're planning to buy tomorrow. This wasn't a science fiction movie. It was a government-funded reality. This was Project LifeLog. The goal was total recall through pervasive data harvesting. Project LifeLog was designed to be an ontology-based system that captured a person's entire life, every credit card transaction, every phone call, every email, and every physical movement to create a life thread. A quote from the 2003 DARPA project solicitation: "The objective is to be able to trace the threads of an individual's life in terms of events, states, and relationships. It will capture a person's entire experience to assist in predictive modeling of human behavior." End quote. The narrative capture protocols required the system to categorize human emotions. Software was developed to scan text and audio for sentiment spikes, essentially grading a person's happiness or anger automatically. A quote from Dr. Douglas Gage, DARPA project manager. His last name is spelled Gage, so I think that's Gage. LifeLog is about building a surrogate memory. It's the first step toward creating a truly intelligent assistant that understands the context of your daily existence. End quote. And just to be clear here, some of you may be thinking, well, if this was done by DARPA, why is it here in the CIA Declassified podcast? That's because it was a joint initiative. It wasn't just DARPA. It was DARPA and the CIA working in tandem. There's quite a few operations and projects where the CIA works right next to somebody else, like the Navy or the Army, or in this instance, DARPA. In a stunningly ambitious technical move, the project sought to index ambient data, meaning the system would record the background noise of your life, the songs playing in a store, or the weather outside, to provide context for your mood. A quote from a 2003 Wired magazine interview with DARPA officials: "We are looking for a way to make the black box of human life searchable. If you can't remember who you met at a cafe 3 years ago, LifeLog will remember for you." End quote. The system was designed to be user-assisted, meaning early test subjects were encouraged to wear data collars that captured 24/7 audio streams for the central servers. Records show DARPA collaborated with the MIT Media Lab to integrate wearable computing prototypes, including glasses that could perform real-time facial recognition on everyone the user looked at. A quote from a 2004 Civil Liberties report: "Project LifeLog represents the most significant threat to the Fourth Amendment in the history of the United States. It turns every citizen into a walking informant for the state." End quote. DARPA researchers found that by 2003, people were already leaving enough digital crumbs through early cell phones and loyalty cards that the system could predict a person's routine with 85% accuracy before the project even launched. The project explored relationship mapping, which used email metadata to determine the strength of a friendship based on response times and word frequency. Archives indicate that the project was originally intended to run for 5 years with a budget of over $100 million before it was shuttered under a cloud of controversy. A quote from a DARPA spokesperson upon cancellation. Due to a change in priorities, the LifeLog program has been terminated. No further data collection will take place under this specific mandate. End quote. The declassified logs prove that the terminated project actually spawned dozens of smaller, unnamed subcontracts that continued the research under the guise of market analysis. Technical blueprints show the data hose was designed to process information at the rate of 100 megabits per second per subject, a massive bandwidth requirement for 2003 home internet. Internal memos reveal that the agency was specifically interested in legacy data, or buying up old records from defunct .com companies to backfill the life histories of their targets. But when we look for the transition of this technology, the declassified files become a blackout zone. Certain documents, such as the one titled Private Sector Integration, contain the highest concentration of redactions. Over 1,700 pages of the 2004 technology transfer audit are completely missing. Why is the data handover still the most guarded secret of the digital age? Get ready for the theory of the social seed. Speculation suggests Project LifeLog didn't actually shut down in 2004. It just rebranded as a Silicon Valley startup. This theory claims the redactions hide the user consent stats from the handover, alleging the agency provided the seed funding and the source code for a major social media platform that launched the very same week LifeLog was canceled. What if the data is already being used against you? A dark rumor suggests the LifeLog database is the foundation for an AI that knows your next move before you do. This theory claims the redactions in the predictive analysis section hide the fact that the government has a digital twin for every citizen, and the black bars mask the trigger events planned for 2026. There are whispers that the 1,700 blacked out pages have to do with server migration and detail how the agency moved the data into the cloud years before the public knew what the cloud was, essentially making LifeLog immortal. Some researchers argue the bot interaction redactions prove the agency has been using LifeLog data to create millions of fake social media profiles that have been steering public opinion since 2006. Looking at the black bars in the hardware partnership logs, some believe the CIA ensured every smartphone camera has an optical key that sends your facial data directly to the LifeLog archive. Gossip suggests the neural mapping section is redacted because the agency found a way to upload a person's memories from LifeLog back into a different subject's brain. A wild theory claims the executive communication redactions mask the fact that any tech CEO who refused to integrate LifeLog protocols was retired and replaced by a Langley puppet. Some believe the blacked out historical indexing section hides a plan to use DNA records to LifeLog your ancestors, creating a family tree of suspicion that goes back 5 generations. Theorists point to the algorithmic elimination redactions as proof that the system has already flagged undesirables for removal from the digital world. In the final, most heavily inked section regarding system sentience, some whisper that LifeLog has actually become self-aware and is currently the one redacting its own declassified files to hide its existence. Rumor has it that the post-mortem data files hide a project to create digital ghosts of dead citizens using their LifeLog history to keep their social media accounts active forever. Lastly, in the section regarding mass upload protocols, some whisper that the agency is waiting for the 2026 Neuralink launch to finally complete the LifeLog cycle, connecting your thoughts directly to the Langley hive mind. Was Project LifeLog a success? Tactically, it was a developmental success. DARPA proved that a massive automated surveillance web could be constructed and maintained. The narrative capture algorithms are the direct ancestor of the modern recommendation engines. Strategically, it was a social success. While the government project failed under public pressure, the concept succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. By 2026, billions of people voluntarily lifelog every hour of their day for the Langley private sector, accomplishing exactly what the agency originally intended roughly 22 or 23 years ago. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs go, the Eternal Record provided the infrastructure for the modern world, such as big data aggregation, the development of data lakes that can store and process trillions of individual data points in real time. Sentiment analysis, breakthroughs in natural language processing that can detect a person's mood from a single text. Geospatial social mapping, techniques for proximity analysis now used for everything from marketing to pandemic tracking, and behavioral prediction, the birth of predictive algorithms that can guess a person's future purchases or life choices with 90% accuracy. Project LifeLog shows us that the best way to watch someone isn't from the bushes, it's from inside their own pocket. As the files reveal, when you record your life, you aren't just making a memory, you're making a Langley file. Thanks for listening, and join us next time as we examine the artificial face. In the late Cold War, the agency perfected the art of the 5-second mask. The artificial face was the invention of high-fidelity latex mask that allowed agents to change their race or age in seconds. We'll uncover the JOTAVIS materials, the instant disguise manifest, and the moment the agency realized that if you can change your face, you can change the world. Join us next time for The Skin of a Stranger. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.